Hello, Steelers Nation, and welcome to the Steel City Insider Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremy Ritz, alongside Jim Wexel, and today we welcome back to the show for the umpteenth time, Mike Prisuta of the DVE Morning Show. Mike, great to see you, and I want to jump right in here. On Twitter, you posted your 3 takeaways from the game, and your first one, you said the season has finally started, and that the plan all along was for Russell Wilson to start, and here we are, Mike. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, and really not too hard to connect the dots on this from where I've been sitting. I mean, for 2 years, they were miserable on offense, and they couldn't score, and they had enough defense and special teams and guile and Mike Tomlin stewarding them through tough situations to get into the playoffs and then get blown out last year. And they went out and got Russell Wilson because they wanted to be more than that. And he became available at a cost of almost nothing. And they thought, great, this veteran Super Bowl winning quarterback falls into our lap. Now we can be better. Now we can actually be legit contenders. And then with Justin Fields for the first 6 weeks, you saw, from my perspective, the same thing we've been seeing. A quarterback that is clearly coached hard not to turn the ball over, a guy who is reluctant to take chances throwing the football because he's coached hard not to turn it over, a guy who would not throw it to open receivers for whatever reason, a guy who wouldn't throw it into the end zone. I feel like I've been watching the same game since the opener 3 years ago, Mitch Trubisky in Cincinnati. Now I'm finally going to get to watch games with a professional, been there, done that, knows what the F he's doing, NFL quarterback who is trusted by his coordinator and his head coach. Guys, I'm really looking forward to that. The 2 years plus game, I got tired of it. It was boring and it wasn't going anywhere.
Mike, what happened to that positivity you told us before the show you were going to bring?
well, no, I'm positive I'm going to like this better. I don't know where they're going. I don't know if they're going to win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson, but I guarantee you guys this, it's going to look different.
You got to like their backup quarterback, too. I mean, all of a sudden, the quarterback position is pretty well stocked, isn't it?
I guess. I don't know. Maybe we'll see him come in and run the ball a little bit. That's what he's best at. And let me say this about Justin Fields. I'm not trying to bury him. For all I know, he still may be the long-term solution, but he clearly doesn't have Wilson's experience. He doesn't have Wilson's understanding of what's happening with the routes and the coverages, and he doesn't have Wilson's cojones throwing the football. It was obvious to me the other night watching that game. Second quarter, they really hadn't gotten much going at all. And for some reason, the Jets decided not to have Sauce Gardner cover George Pickens on 2nd and 17. Some guy named Brandon Eccles was lined up outside of or in front of Pickens. And Russell Wilson saw that, and he threw the ball 44 yards down the field, and Pickens made a combat catch. Wow, splash play. There you go. Later in the game, Sauce Gardner gets hurt. They throw right at the replacement, fade to Pickens, touchdown. It didn't always work. One of the deep throws against one-on-one coverage was lucky. Wilson underthrew it, bounced off the DB. Pickens made the catch anyway. But, that can only happen if you throw the ball in the first place. They gave it a chance to happen, and it happened. This just in, Pickens is a special player. He needs to be targeted. This just in, Pat Freiermuth can turn short catches into long gains if you hit him on time and in stride. Same for Calvin Austin. This has some possibilities all of a sudden. They can look like a real team, not a team that wants to drag you into the tar pit and hold your head under until you die and then come out looking miserable and ugly, but somehow victorious.
Mike, you've been pushing for Russell Wilson. I don't know how. Ever since he's been close to being healthy again. Were you getting any blowback during the Boo Fest in the first quarter?
Oh, quite a bit. Yeah, the people on Twitter are great. Blowback I got the week before when the Raiders went down and scored on their first touchdown. I had been saying the defense I thought could be elite, and everybody reminded me that the defense sucks because they gave up a touchdown on the first drive. How'd that work out? They were probably the same people were reminding me Russell Wilson is washed and finished, and they never should have got this guy after the first, 2 for 8 and some ugly incompletions. And, it didn't look good early, but they still play 60 minutes, don't they?
So do you think the squabbling about the quarterbacks is over now?
Not on my Twitter feed, it's not.
Yeah.
The Jets stink and Russell Wilson's a choker. Calm down. This doesn't mean we have an offense.
Okay.
That's the feedback I'm getting.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this cute little story involving my daughter, your goddaughter, Mike. She texted me today. Her fiance is in the hospital undergoing surgery on a busted finger, and he was anesthetized. And, he's from Kentucky. He never had a pro team. He loved the Wildcats and loves his college football. He's a baseball pitcher on the Ohio Bobcats. That's where they met. And he went to a few games in Pittsburgh and fell in love with both the Pirates and the Steelers, and just loves them and has all the jerseys now and all that. He's just falling for them, and like he's falling for her. And anyway, he's in the hospital anesthetized, and they said he was arguing with somebody about Fields. he was on Wilson.
Say some funny stuff in those situations.
Giving stats and saying, hey, you're wrong. He's all right. He's gonna be.
I mean, you've watched a lot of games, Jim. I mean, can you not tell just looking at those guys how they play the position, how different they are?
Oh, absolutely. You said it. It's like when the Pirates used to have professional hitters batting third and fourth. This is a professional quarterback.
Yeah. Now they got Connor Joe. What's not to love?
Yeah, right. Right. Now, I liked what I saw from Fields the first 4 games, and I still think they might have something there they can develop. And if he wants to be Russell's backup next year too, great. But like you said, Russell came in, he's a professional quarterback. My only problem was he didn't have his mobility back. I didn't know if he'd ever get it back. He couldn't jump over a duffel bag 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that answered a lot of questions. His bootlegs rolling on. He evaded pressure.
Yeah,
I didn't think that would happen. I figured, okay, he's got some mobility back. He's still going to get sacked. Was he sacked at all?
One time. One time, but he maneuvered very well, as well as he needed to.
Right.
The one time he tried to run, they caught him from behind. I think he ended up with a 1-yard gain. But he's not here to run the ball; he's here to throw it. And he's been 5 foot tall his entire professional life, so he's always had to kind of move around back there and create a lane for himself, and find a way amid all the trees and the traffic. I just think he is teed up right now. Particularly with this latest bit of tumult about whether they should play him or not. He's already what did Tomlin say about him and Arthur Smith? They're scalded, and Justin Fields because of what happened to them last year, different situations, but they're all here because of failed experiences or perceived failed experiences. I think this has got a chance to take off a little bit. I think it's got a chance to make them a legit contender. I still think the defense is elite. The special teams, apparently they can dial up a block kick anytime they want. There's some possibilities here. This doesn't have to end at 9-8 and going to Buffalo and losing by double digits. It doesn't. It might, but it doesn't have to. It's not preordained.
Well, that's what a professional quarterback brings you. And, okay, if it's not elite, it's close to elite defense. It's got speed. I think the problem, and we'll see how they handle the Ravens with Derrick Henry, is that rush up the middle. They don't have the beef. That's Tomlin. He wants speed. He doesn't want 340 pounders. And could that hurt them? Will that hurt them? Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen, they're speedy, but are they going to take that punishing? They're going to chase Lamar Jackson down, but are they going to handle Derrick Henry?
If Robert Spillane could tackle him, anybody could tackle him.
Well, Robert, I don't know. Robert's, if you got a Landon Roberts out there, great. Put a Landon Roberts out there. So that's one beefy hitter they have. Keanu Benton, and he gets moved a little bit, and the style that they play, it's a run and chase defense. It's got elite speed.
I agree with all those points. Particularly, you're going to see one of those beef eaters, Dexter Lawrence, on Monday night, the big load for the New York Football Giants in the middle of the D line. But in addition to that speed, Jim, when they get there, they're in a bad mood. A couple plays really got my attention. The Larry Ogunjobi penalty in the Jets game, I didn't mind that at all, especially early in the game. Mess with him a little bit. Abuse him a little, throw him down a little bit, let him know it's going to be a long physical night. And there was a play in the Raiders game. I don't know if you remember this one. One of the few passes that Aiden O'Connell was able to complete. was down the left sideline to DJ Turner, and Joey Porter and Minka Fitzpatrick were there. It was about a 30-yard gain, and Turner was struggling, and they kind of had their hands on him, but he wasn't down yet, and he was sort of lurching forward and starting to fall. And Landon Roberts came flying in and leveled him just before he got to the ground. And the crowd didn't like it. And it was borderline dirty. And I asked him about it afterward, a couple days afterward. And he said, hey, if the guy didn't want to get hit, he should have laid down. I like that attitude. You know, they're starting to show some teeth on that defense and a physicality and a viciousness that I think will serve them well.
Well, the other guy that brings that along with Roberts is Deshaun Elliott.
Oh, my God. Is he way better than I thought he was going to be?
Finally, a good, strong safety. A quality. Hey, every championship, every team that's been in a Super Bowl, every Steelers team that's been in a Super Bowl has had a great, strong safety. You can look it up. And I think Deshaun Elliott, the way he's playing right now, qualifies as that right now.
Yeah, I think he's been phenomenal. Both coverage and hitting and stopping the run. I don't blame him on that Dallas play because I just think it was silly not to blitz there. They gave Dak Prescott too much time. You can't have a safety running around with a receiver for 5 seconds. He did the best. He did the best he could. You know,
absolutely.
But yeah, I think this defense is really. I was worried about Aaron Rodgers and those 3 receivers. I really was because they'd had some trouble with Flacco, and they had some trouble with Prescott. And I wondered, all right, are these guys really good enough to handle a veteran quarterback that knows what he's doing and knows how to distribute the ball and knows how to read coverages and has the weapons to take advantage of all that knowledge? And I thought they did a great job against the Jets. Couple missed tackles on Breece Hall, but that's what he does. You're not going to slam the door completely shut. But what, 3 second-half shutouts now? That's outstanding. Especially because, you know, Tomlin, they never make no adjustments in that.
And we'd be remiss not to bring up Beanie Bishop, 2 interceptions, undrafted guy coming through in a big way against a big-time quarterback. I mean, he definitely contributed to this win.
Yeah, that was good to see. That second one, he was kind of lucky. He actually got beat on the play, but hey, made the best of it. And, you know, good for Beanie. He's been picked on a lot. I'll still welcome Cam Sutton back with open arms after this Giants game.
You know, Cam disappointed me in training camp. I thought he lost some speed, and they used him at safety the whole time. So I'm wondering if Cam came into camp not ready, intentionally, knowing he had 8 weeks to get ready. And I hope he's working out hard, getting ready, and shows up faster. And hey, I don't want to say he was out of shape because he looked fit, but he just looked slower. So
he did, but he was getting 13 reps in camp, and he knew he wasn't going to play. I thought he was out there pretty much just to break a sweat and maybe instruct some of the guys they were going to cut how to play defense better.
Okay. Well, that nickel spot, it's always fit him. So, and he's a veteran, and I know the coaches. I said, well, you know, what's Cam Sutton doing? And the defensive backfield coaches would say the communication level just picks up like that. So, you know, if you promise us no more communication excuses after games.
Oh, you know, next time they lose because of a defensive breakdown, you're going to hear that. You know that. Right. But also, I mean, I'd rather put him out there than James Pierre if, you know, something should happen to Dante Jackson again or Joey Porter Jr. I mean, you know, Sutton can play outside too. And then Beanie would get another shot, presumably. So, you know, the more DBs you can have, right?
Hey, C.J. Henderson, let's see what he's got. Wasn't he a high draft pick?
Yes, he was. 9th or 10th overall.
First practice, he had a pick 6. First practice. And he just got called up today. And Mike, you asked an interesting question. Was he being pursued by another team? Is that why they called him up? You know, Dante Jackson, I did not hear Mike Tomlin today yet. And Mike, I asked you, you said you have not yet either. Dante Jackson told me he was going to play Monday. I'm curious as to Jeremy, do you know if what Tomlin said about Dante Jackson?
So I looked through him running down the injuries. There was nothing there that said that he wouldn't play Monday night. So
yeah, seems like he's got a shoulder that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
probably because that's how he tackles people, with the shoulder.
Well, he said he tackled Breece Hall and stretched it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a hitter. He just uses his shoulder as opposed to his arms. I've really liked his game. He and Elliott have been highly impactful on that back end.
Yeah. Mike, I wanted to backtrack to something that you said earlier when you were talking about Russell Wilson, and that was that he unlocks parts of the offense. And you mentioned Pat Freiermuth. Man, I mess it up all the time. Freiermuth, and that nice catch that he had. But can you talk about that a little bit, about what he adds to this offense and how he opens things up?
Well, I mean, he understands, where to go with the ball and when to get it there. He understands trajectory and touch when he's throwing it. But really, I thought Arthur Smith a couple weeks ago, he was asked in the week after the Dallas game about being conservative, which he's been asked about pretty regularly, and which Matt Canada was asked about all the time. If you guys remember, in the first quarter of that Dallas game, they had a 3rd and 8 at the Cowboys' 28-yard line, and they ran a toss to a free agent running back from Harvard. And Arthur was asked if that was maybe too conservative. And he gave a great explanation. It was a little rambling, but he talked about how they were playing Dallas, and Mike Zimmer's the coordinator, and he's famous for the double-A gap blitz, and they were expecting the double-A gap blitz, and they had a 3rd and 10 in Indianapolis previously. And he never mentioned Justin Fields by name, but he said, we didn't hit the hot, which was Najee Harris in the left flat. We ended up turning it over and not even getting a field goal. Remember that play where Justin Fields just ran backwards and he slipped and lost the ball before he even got hit? It was an apocalyptic mistake on the part of Fields. I mean, everybody misses throws, everybody misses reads, everybody makes mistakes once in a while, but that was a below the line. You can't have this kind of mistake, particularly if you're going to play every game that's going to be a close one-score game. So I think the way that Smith was calling the game was clearly a reflection of the trust he had in Fields. It was good, but not great. Mike Tomlin had said Fields' play was very good, but not to be confused with great. Now they got a guy they can trust to do some stuff. I thought you saw them doing more things, throwing it past the sticks more, throwing it into the end zone more, letting Russ cook, if you will, guys.
Yeah, and cook.
Hey, what? Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, go ahead, Jim.
What do we think about adding a receiver? I mean, trading deadline's getting near. Guys like Cooper Kupp are now in the news. Mike Williams.
I wouldn't be a big Mike Williams fan, but I would bring somebody in. And I think if for no other reason, you still have the problem you had at the beginning of the season, which is, what if George Pickens gets hurt? The passing game comes to a grinding halt. They need some sort of option as a 1A, let alone more depth and productivity at the position. Not surprising that Van Jefferson reemerged a little bit. I think Calvin Austin's going to benefit from Russell Wilson playing. But if I was the Steelers, I would be looking under every rock to find something at that position to add.
Well, Mike Williams might cost him a 7th-round pick or 6th-round pick. And he can run a go ball. He can catch a moon ball, can he?
I guess. I mean, they were interested in the spring, right? And he went to the Jets, and the Jets ended up signing him. But he's done absolutely nothing impactful for the Jets. I did find myself thinking, Jim, when he caught that ball over the middle, I was thinking, tackle him, but don't hurt him.
Well, he's coming off an ACL, right?
Something pretty severe. That sounds right. But he's older, and
he would come cheap. That's Cooper Kupp is they're saying 2nd-round pick. And his contract, I just looked it up while you were telling that last story, Mike. His contract is wow.
Are the stories that bad that you're looking stuff up while I'm explaining things?
No, I thought you would command the audience so well that this is perfect for me because I didn't do my homework coming into the show, and Jeremy's going to scold me afterwards.
That's right. The principal in me is going to come out there, Jim. Cooper Kupp would be nice.
Cooper Kupp's the kind of guy you're talking about as a 1A, but 2nd-round pick, big money. Yes.
Yeah. No? Well, there's that, but also isn't there still the hey, this is an all-in kind of year in terms of winning in January? Not the whole thing.
Is it all in? Is this a Super Bowl team? Did they do that? Did they make a move like that because they can do it?
I mean, you try, don't you? I mean, who knows? If I was going to make a futures bet after I get done talking to you guys, it would be on Kansas City. But you never know, right? I thought their MO is they never give up on a season. That's why they traded for Minka Fitzpatrick when Ben Roethlisberger got hurt.
Yeah, but that was a rookie contract, and the Dolphins had already paid the bonus. That was monetarily, and look, you still have them. I mean, I do think this is a Super Bowl potential team. Like you said, why not? I mean, get Zach Frazier back. Dylan Cook gives you some tackle depth, and McCollum now gives you some interior depth. I mean, he looked okay.
Yeah, I did hear Mike Tomlin gave him double thumbs up.
Okay.
For his performance today. And I do a Thursday night show with Matt Williamson and Merrill Hodge on WDVE in Pittsburgh. And Merrill had said the game that Frazier was injured, he immediately watched McCollum very closely for the rest of it. I think he played 20 snaps after the Frazier injury. And it didn't all fall apart. He looked like he belonged out there. Jim, I was talking to Dan Moore Jr. A bunch of us tried to interview McCollum last week, and he just had very little to say. I don't know if he was uncomfortable or just didn't want to deal with it. And I ended up asking Dan Moore about him because those two guys played at Texas A&M together. Okay. And one of the things Moore said was that McCollum had been tutoring Zach Frazier since the spring. Now, McCollum's been here since 2022 as a practice squad guy, not a been there, done that player. But I thought, well, if he's willing to work with this draft choice, he must know what he's talking about, or at least think he knows. At least he thinks he knows what he's talking about. And then Craig Wolfley subsequently said, well, they don't keep you around for 2+ years if they don't think you have some potential. If they thought this guy can never play for us, they would have gotten somebody else for the practice squad.
Yeah.
So maybe all he needed was a shot. I'm not saying he's going to be Frazier or all pro or anything like that, but as long as he can be not the reason that it falls completely apart, that's good enough.
Right. He gives them OL depth now, interior depth. And I think Dylan Cook gives them tackle depth. As long as Broderick Cook gets his butt in gear. And did you hear the pregame intros?
On the TV?
By the players. Dan Moore. They named their colleges, right?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, none of them anymore. It's really getting sloppy now. But Dan Moore said, O-line U. And I thought, Texas A&M? What? So he must have been referring to McCollum.
Maybe. I heard Russell Wilson say he's from a pack of Badgers.
Oh, that's what he said. I didn't know I didn't catch that. Yeah. Pack of something, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to current day where we are. Monday night against the Giants before the bye week, and then it's the Washington Commanders, then the date with the Ravens. But what should we expect Monday night against the G-Men?
Jeremy, if they hadn't made the quarterback switch, I'd say, boy, this is one of those games. They should win it, but they might only score 13 points, and it could come down to the wire. But with Russell Wilson, I think the Steelers are going to score. Now, New York's got a tough defense, but the Giants' offense is hideous. They're going to have to turn it over inside the 20 multiple times. As I said before the Colts game, I don't see a path to losing this game. They lost it anyway, but I think it's a different Steeler team all of a sudden. I think it's another big celebratory national stage primetime night at Acrisure Stadium, and I think Pittsburgh wins this one 27-6, something like that.
Yeah. I took the -6 myself. I think the stadium will be electric. They're better on Monday night than Sunday night. It's more electric on Monday night for whatever reason. It's a second of back-to-back home games. They do a lot better for whatever reason. Those back-to-back home games. That second one, there's a lived-in feeling here. All right, we're gonna do this again. It'll be electric, and the Giants don't have a chance. I don't see a letdown at all. This is not the trap game that people are going to call it.
No, because it's the second game of the season.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go. There we go. Well, it'll definitely be
He
an
brought it full circle for you, Jeremy.
Yes, he did. He's a
Well,
pro.
that's what we do, man.
He's a pro. I'm with two professionals here. I'm the amateur.
Jim threw it up to the rim, and I jammed it in.
Well, that is going to do it here for episode 129 of the Steel City Insider Podcast. We appreciate you guys getting us to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. Make sure you leave a like and comment on the show. And if you haven't done so, subscribe. Jim, anything that you want to plug quickly?
Yeah, my it's a great book, illustrated timeline. It's a Steelers history book, coffee table book, and it's on jimwexel.com. We just got it up yesterday, so it's available there, and I'll autograph it. And you can contact me if you want an inscription, something personalized. So,
all right, and we'll put
Can you use it as a coffee table?
yes, as a matter of fact, yes. I finally figured out how to answer that question from you.
And Mike, anything you want to plug or lead the listeners?
Yeah, big day coming up Saturday. Sparty at Michigan. It's hate week.
Ooh.
All right, so big weekend in college football.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Let's go Spartans and let's go Steelers. And we'll see you back here next week for a brand new episode of the Steel City Insider Podcast. Take care, everyone. Gentlemen, have a great week.
Thanks, Mike. Take care, guys.